Everybody knows Microsoft, right? Either you are an Apple or you are a Microsoft person. Why should we use Microsoft? And what's so special about Microsoft 365? What will the future of Microsoft bring us? My name is Sjors Brul. Welcome to Never Check Out. We welcome Bart van Leeuwen in our studio. Bart has worked for SBIT for more than 12 years now. Today, he's a well-educated Microsoft 365 specialist who helped a lot of hotels transition to the cloud. According to Bart, Microsoft is changing rapidly. Welcome, Bart. Welcome in the studio.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
Cool. Well, Bart, we've been working quite long with each other, right? More than 12 years. I remember we started in the other office, the old office. I think you were a support engineer at that stage?
Yeah, first, yeah. So I worked like 6-7 years on support first.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. What Windows version were we on at that stage?
I think we did at first Windows Vista, I think. I'm not sure.
Vista.
Yeah.
I forgot about Vista.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember 3.1, 3.11, 95.
Yeah.
I forgot about Vista.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. And then that was after 2000, right? Yeah, Windows 2000 and then Windows Vista.
Yeah.
All right. And nowadays, I mean, it's a lot more, huh? I mean, we used to have WordPerfect and all sorts of different applications. Now the world is changing. There's a lot of Microsoft.
Yeah, exactly. So there are a lot of products in the Microsoft suite currently. Mm-hmm. So we worked with, at first started it with the Office applications. After that, we moved our email to the cloud, SharePoint, Teams, all kinds of products these days.
So all the collaboration products, but also the old-fashioned Word and Excel, PowerPoint, everything online now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do we still need the application on our desktop?
I prefer it.
Why?
Because you have a little bit more options in the applications, but you can work online as well. So if you have like front line workers that need to do little stuff on Word documents, on Excel documents, you can work on the web version as well.
What I see sometimes on the web version, for instance, if we work on Word documents, they don't show correctly, and if you print it, the images are at another space.
Yeah, exactly.
That still happens, right?
Yeah, it still happens, but it's getting better. It's getting better. The same with kinds of letters or other kinds of things that's still not completely there yet. But I think the transition to the web version is unstoppable right now. Yeah. So the application on the desktop will leave us, I think, in a couple of years.
So in the end, you would say that you just open a web browser and everything is there.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only for the Microsoft products, but also your accounting stuff and everything will be done through the web browser.
Yeah, exactly. So we have seen that with PMS already, of course. But I think every application will be eventually a web application.
Web application.
Yeah.
Okay. And moving forward, I mean, you just mentioned SharePoint and Teams.
Yeah.
I think most of our listeners know about SharePoint and Teams, but is there also a transition going? I mean, if everything is on SharePoint, is it also in Teams, or do you migrate to Teams? What's the difference?
There's a big correlation between the two products. If you are in Teams, you can immediately click to your SharePoint libraries. It's not that much from SharePoint to Teams, so I think everything should be in Teams eventually, so that you work on Teams, you can find your files, your documents, you can work from there, and it's automatically saved on the back end of SharePoint.
So are we moving to the web version of things, or are we moving to the Teams version of things?
I think it will be the web version of Teams eventually.
Eventually?
Yeah.
If all the functionality that's in Teams now will also go to the web browser?
Exactly. So they just launched the new Teams version.
Okay. What's different?
It's quite more lean. So it's like they call it like 60 or 70% faster than the old version of the installed Teams.
Okay.
I think it's much more web already. And you can change your your companies, when you work for different companies, you can change your companies quite easily within the same application, even when you are on a meeting or whatever.
So more like how it is on your mobile today, that you also receive the team messages from the different companies you're logged into.
Yeah.
So it's much more a correlation of things, and you're able to work not just everywhere and anywhere, but also in different companies and do the same stuff on the different tenants.
Yeah, exactly. So you have one portal, one application for all your companies.
And that's new since?
It wasn't new, but changing between the companies was like not really good, a good functionality.
If I change from company, what happens is I'm not reachable for you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So you were not reachable, so you needed to change for all your messaging. And when you are on a meeting and you changed the different company, you're automatically locked out of your meeting. Okay. And that's changed.
That's all done. Okay. A little bit back. I mean, we're talking about web browsers. We were talking about Windows versions. If I buy a laptop nowadays, it will be Windows 11, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's fully Office 365 or Microsoft 365 integrated.
Yeah. So, most applications are already installed.
So what happens if I work for a hotel? I receive my new notebook. What's happening?
You receive your new notebook and you log in directly with your Office 365 account, and it will install every application that you need.
Okay.
So
how does it know what I need?
Based on your permission level, so that can be like if you're a certain kind of employee, like a front office manager, for example, then the IT department sets a certain criteria on the applications that you need.
Okay.
And when they unbox their device, they log in on the machine. It's automatically connected to the Wi-Fi, for example, that we can pre-provision that. And it will install everything that the user needs. We'll log in the applications automatically with single sign-on. So the user doesn't need to log on their Outlook, on their Teams. It will automatically be logged on.
In a secure way?
In a secure way, yeah.
Okay, so it still needs two-factor authentication to log into?
When you unbox the device and you log in for the first time, it will prompt for your MFA.
Okay.
And if you don't have an MFA, it will ask you to configure your MFA.
Okay. And MFA is multi-factor authentication.
Yeah, exactly.
2FA, right?
So that's the additional step next to your password.
Okay.
Because everything is in the cloud.
Yeah.
It's reachable from anywhere.
Yeah.
So we need to have an additional step of authentication because everybody can try to log in with your account.
Okay. So if we're working from the web browser, so you just mentioned how easy a laptop or a workstation is rolled out. You're basically mentioning that it's from the past that an engineer needs to configure your machine and work there for hours until he gets everything installed. That will be all distributed and done automatically. Then I'm also able to log in from my web browser from another device, let's say Apple MacBook or a Samsung tablet or whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I can access the same environment because all my stuff is stored in the cloud.
Yeah.
But how will that work with my front office team? I mean, I have, like, let's say we have 20 people working at front office in a hotel in shifts. They go home, they log in, and they can access everything from the hotel?
Actually, you can configure a policy that blocks your frontline workers to work from home or any place, and they are only allowed to log in from the location that you set.
So we can say, okay, all the managers can work from home, for instance, but the front office people can't. Unless there's a crisis in the hotel or whatsoever, we can still open it up, and then they're able to log in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we call that conditional access. So we can block certain logins from certain locations. So you can say, okay, for these kind of people, it's allowed to log in from the Netherlands, but not outside.
Okay.
You can say, okay, it's allowed to log in from the hotel itself, but not outside of the hotel.
Okay.
You can say, okay, it's allowed to log in from any place, but it needs to be a company managed device.
Okay.
And we can say, okay, it's allowed to log in from any kind of device, but it needs to have certain criteria on the device itself. So, for example, it needs to have antivirus, it needs to have the latest kind of version of Windows. We can all set those kind of settings.
Okay, so it's a lot safer. So we have a lot more technology in there, but this is also, is it easier to hack or is it safer than before?
Actually, with the two-factor or the multi-factor authentication, it's quite safe. So for any hotel chain or hotel, if you don't have that configured yet, that's the first step that you take. If you don't have it, it's waiting to get a security breach.
So how do you keep it safe? What's the...
Because it's your multi-factor is authenticating with your mobile phone, for example. So you install an application on your mobile phone. When you log in with your password, passwords will be expired, I think, in the next few years as well.
Because they're not safe.
It's not necessary anymore because you authenticate through an app.
Okay.
On your phone, you can already turn that off, password authentication. Okay. So when you log in on your Microsoft Office 365 account, it will recognize your email address and will give you additional step on your phone, like fingerprint or facial recognition.
And then you need to put in those numbers, right, nowadays?
Yeah, nowadays they changed it to numeric login because a lot of people just press on yes. Yeah. And then the hacker is in as well.
I actually found out, I think a few weeks ago, that I couldn't recall my password because I use those numbers all the time, but I'm never prompted for a password anymore.
Yeah. So on your laptop device, for example, you have facial recognition or your fingerprint. On your phone, the same. So yeah, you don't remember your password because you don't use it anymore.
Okay, and then again, for those front office or housekeeping or whatsoever, they don't have all of this, but they have to be in the hotel.
Exactly, because they only log in with a password. Okay. They need to be on that location.
Okay.
And that keeps it a lot more safe, because you can't ask for every front office employee to turn on multi-factor on a certain account, because only one person can authenticate.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, to be honest, you don't want all the front office workers to walk around with a mobile phone, because they will use it privately as well. And they have to be, working with the guests, not with their phones. So, okay. So Microsoft 365, we talked about all the Office applications, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams. What else? Is there anything that has changed the last 25 years, or is it still the same but in a new way of working? So
in the past 25 years ago, every hotel bought their servers. For every workload, they had a server, probably on premise on the location. Yep. Like 10 years, 15 years ago, there was a transition. People put their email in the cloud, put their document management system like SharePoint in the cloud, put their PMS in the cloud. That changed a lot.
The SaaS applications, basically.
Yeah. So software as a service. So you don't manage any server anymore. You don't manage the application anymore. You only manage the configurations in the application.
Okay. So no servers needed, or if I need a server, I can still use one?
If you have some middleware that doesn't have a SaaS solution, you can, of course, or you can put a solution in place that you lift and shift your physical device in the cloud. Okay. And so you run Windows or Linux or whatever in the cloud.
So I run a virtual machine in the cloud. Is that the thing called Azure, or?
Yeah, that's one of the possibilities of Azure.
Yeah. What are the other ones?
Like SQL in the cloud.
Like a database?
Yeah, database. There are like a couple of hundred solutions for that.
What about that user authentication that used to be in the hotels? That's also now all in the cloud.
Yeah. So before your identity protection was managed on a server on premise. So when you needed to create a user, you created that on the server. User logged in on a computer, directly connected to that server. And now we moved that to the cloud with Azure Active Directory. The new name is Entra ID, I think.
Okay.
That's your identity provider in the cloud. So
in the end, Microsoft could be your full identity in the cloud also for other applications?
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, if you connect your third-party applications like PMS or your POS system or your finance system, if you connect that to Azure AD, then that's your main identity provider as well.
So I just log on with my email with my email address and my password or identifier.
So you manage only one account on your Entra ID, and it's automatically for your finance system, for your PMS system, etc.
Which means if I'm offboarding a person, so I say goodbye to you're not working here anymore, then I only need to disable one account.
You disable that account and it's automatically disabled on all workloads.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, what about AI? I hear a lot about AI, about ChatGPT. Is there a Microsoft solution coming soon?
Actually 2 weeks ago, the 1st of November, they launched Microsoft Copilot.
Okay.
And Copilot is basically an AI system that's integrated in your Microsoft 365 environment, into your web browser, into your operating system. They call it like the most productive tool on the planet even currently, so that other people say it's like the same moment as that Apple had in 2007 when they launched their iPhone. So it's a really big product.
Why is it so big?
It's basically, it's not basically, but it's a
Okay.
and you want to create a Word document based on a meeting that you had before. It's integrated over any application in the Microsoft stack. So if you had a meeting before and you made some OneNotes with some bullet points, and you want to create a Word document with an offer, for example, you can refer back to that OneNote file. So can you create an offer on that OneNote file, and it will immediately write an offer in any language that you need.
And can it also transcribe the meeting that I had and then summarize that and use that?
Yeah, exactly.
As well. So it's actually it's your personal assistant. It's
your personal assistant. It works over any application. So if you want to search something in SharePoint, for example, it's the end document with certain information. It gives you all the documents with that information.
So it's a sort of ChatGPT, but Office integrated?
Yeah, exactly. With
maybe I understood. I'm not sure if I understand correctly. So it's like a ChatGPT, but it only works in the Microsoft environment. So nothing is also from your search or your prompts that you put in there is actually transferred to AI. It's only looking at the Microsoft stuff.
No, it also looks on the internet.
Okay.
So if there's any article on the internet somewhere posted, it gives you that information as well.
Okay, but will it also transfer my information to the internet like ChatGPT does?
No. So for anyone that wants to use a ChatGPT that works for a company, I strongly suggest to use Copilot.
Okay.
Copilot within your browser is free of charge if you have an Entra ID account, so a Microsoft 365 account, and please do your queries there because that's protected.
Being enterprise, or is that something else?
That's retired now. So that's Copilot as well.
Okay.
And
yesterday it was still being. Is it? Because of the ignition.
Ignite. Yeah. So they announced that. So that's free. You can use that in your browser.
All right.
If you want to use Copilot within your Office applications, that's an additional license of $30 right now per user.
Yeah, but it can only be used by enterprises at the moment, right? So 300 users up.
Yeah. So from the 1st of November, they started out with companies with enterprise agreements directly with Microsoft.
Yeah.
So if you have an enterprise agreement with Microsoft, you can buy it.
Okay.
There's a cap. You need to do it for at least 300 users. Okay. So you need to be quite a big of an organization to do that, because that $30 additional, you probably want to do that only for Office employees and not for first-line workers. Because
if you give everybody a PA and they can use it that way, I mean, then $30 is not a lot.
Yeah. For $30 for a PA is quite cheap.
You almost double your workforce then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, are we worried about that as well, or are we sure that it only looks into the data that I collected into my Azure or SharePoint or Teams environment?
Of course, you need to be a little bit worried about your current permission levels. Because if I ask Copilot, can you search for certain data, and your account is able to reach that within the environment, it will find it. So first look at your permission structure, and then put it on.
But that's a big one. So it will respect the permissions that are currently in place. So if you are not able to find HR files at the moment, then your Copilot will not find it either if you're not HR related.
Yeah, your personal Copilot.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do we have any expectations when it will be available for SMB?
I think it will be 2024.
Okay.
Hopefully not 2025, but we are not sure.
Okay, there's nothing on. No word.
So first, they when they announced it, they say, okay, it's available for enterprise customers. So every MSP, CSP thought, okay, if a customer has an enterprise license, we can buy it. But a week before they really put it in production, they say, okay, no, it's only for enterprise agreement customers with a cap of 300 users at least. So that was a big bummer, but I think it will be available in 2024.
But I think the reason is that they need to fill a lot of data centers. There's a lot of hardware involved with this change.
So that's probably the reason. They could have brought it a little bit better, I think. So
room for marketing improvements.
Exactly.
Okay. Excellent. Anything else we should know about the Microsoft 365 suite and what it's bringing us?
Let's talk about Copilot a little bit more. So imagine if you want to book a hotel, for example, as a guest.
Yeah.
And you know that a colleague will go to Paris next week as well. You have a meeting in Paris. You can ask Copilot, okay, my colleague, I know my colleague already booked a hotel.
Okay.
Which hotel did they book? They will search in the calendar of your colleague, okay, they booked this one.
Okay.
Do you want to book that as well? There will be plugins available that can connect to certain third parties. So,
like Booking.com.
I don't know if they have that already. I know that Skyscanner, for example, has it.
Okay.
Oracle is busy with one as well.
Okay.
So it extends outside of the Microsoft 365 environment as well.
It will be huge connector then for all the enterprise.
Yeah, so they call it plugins. So every third party can build their own plugins.
Okay.
So please, PMS people,
Start working on the plugin.
start working on the plugin. There will be other things possible as well. So if you want to do a certain task on a third party application, you can ask Copilot to do that.
It makes me think of, I think a few years ago when they introduced the iPhone, Steve Jobs was on stage and with everything you asked him, he said, no, there will be an app for that.
Yeah.
And I think this is actually the same thing. There will be a connector for that or now a plugin for that.
Yeah, a plugin, yeah. So,
and that's basically game changing, right? Because then you don't need an interface, a UI anymore.
yeah. So first there will be a API to get all that data from that certain application into your Microsoft 365 environment. So you can search for certain financial data, certain other data from your PMS, for example.
But that will be then a real-time search. It will not pull in all the data into the Azure cloud, right?
That will be a real-time search on the index.
Okay.
They call it semantic indexing.
Okay.
They will extract that data and make an index of that, and you can search directly on that database. And the plugins is an additional step on it.
Okay.
That will be that you can call an action on a certain application.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
But that will change the world.
Yeah.
Rapidly.
Yeah. There are already like a couple of hundred plugins.
Okay.
That I think that will be thousands.
But only for enterprise at the moment.
Yeah, only for enterprise at the moment. Maybe in a few years it will be available for personal use as well. Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
What if people want to know more? Where do they search? Do they go to the website? Or if it's a hotel, can anyone help them?
They can of course call SBIT if they want.
All right.
Or call their own MSP or a CSP. They can refer back to the Microsoft site.
Okay.
There are a lot of information.
A lot of information out there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Phil, thank you, Bart. Thank you for coming to the studio. Quite enlightening. A bright future.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't need us anymore.
Hopefully.
Thanks a million.
Thank you.